Okay. Hi everyone. So I hope you guys enjoyed the previous session of ours. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the most. Hi everyone. So I hope you guys enjoyed the previous session of ours. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the most. Alright. So let's start with parajumble. Okay. So, parajumble is basically the most important part of CAT. So you can assume that after RC there is only parajumble. Basically, the most we can say CAT. So you can assume that after RC, parajumble is the only one which we can say that covers the most of the verbal section. Okay. So parajumble, many students feel that parajumble is something which can it's more like confusing. They feel that we understand the passage, but we don't really understand that which sentence should come together because every sequence feels correct to them. Okay. So what you can do for this, that there are always certain hints are given in the parajumble, because see what happens whenever we talk about parajumble, we understood the context. Okay, we know that what the passage is talking about, we know what author wants to say, we understand every single thing. But then point is that then what should be the logical sequence? What is this logical sequence? So this logical sequence is actually the order. Now that order will be defined mainly by the ideas. See, a ideal passage looks like introduction, body, which contains every detail of the what we are talking about, and then conclusion. This is the ideal formation of a passage. Okay. So after that, there are second thing is there are some grammatical hints. Okay, like for example, let's say pronoun. Abhi, pronouns are what? Something which replaces noun. Okay, that is what pronouns are. Now if you see that, if you let's take first sentence in which pronoun is there, so my question is, where is noun? Okay, या तो उसी particular sentence में they describe that pronoun. Okay, whether there has to be a sentence above. So when we talk about parajumble, there are various hints given in the parajumble itself. Okay, so just like reading comprehension, I need not to look for logic or something. The answer lies within the parajumbles. Okay, so let's solve some real-time questions of CAT. Okay, so this is how a parajumble question looks like. Okay, so whenever, because CAT may there are no options available, because options actually makes it little easier for it makes actually a little easier for student to identify the correct answer. So what they did from some previous years, they actually stopped providing answer. All you have to do is you have to type that answer. Okay, आपको खुद से type करना होता है. You have to come up with the correct sequence. Now, first thing, whenever you are proceeding for parajumble, as options are not available to us, we don't know that how we can shortlist the options and what can be the first sentence. So always read. First reading should be more like it should be more like your familiarity with the context. It should be more like that you are just getting familiar with the context. You just want to see that what the passage is talking about. Okay, that should be your first reading. Do not try to identify answer in the very first reading. That can go against you, because you keep looking for the options. Okay, this one seems correct, this one seems correct, and you end up getting distracted and you fail to get the crux of the passage. So first reading, do not worry about answer. Just give it a glance, read it carefully, and see what the passage is talking about. And even in first reading, you will get a little hint that okay, what is the nature of A sentence, what is the nature of B sentence, and so on. So let's see how to solve these questions. Okay. Now, let's see. But the attention of a layman, not surprisingly, has been captured by the bomb, although there is at least a chance that it may never be used again. Okay. So first hint is here. But now, you must have seen that maximum of time whenever we say but in a sentence, we are actually about to say something absolutely new, mainly contradict. If I say Akshay is a good boy, but. So what comes in your mind that now I'm about to say something bad about him? Because but maximum of time brings contradiction. Okay, so this cannot be our first sentence because I need a sentence which I can put before this. But if I'm saying but, so there has to be a sentence before it which is talking absolutely contradict or some other information which is given in a sentence. Okay, so this cannot be our first sentence. All of the changes introduced by men into the household of nature control large-scale nuclear fission is undoubtedly the most dangerous and most profound. Okay. So in this, I don't see any kind of hint on the basis of which I can eliminate this as my first option. But I'm not even choosing this as my first sentence. So let's keep it as an option that this B sentence can be the answer. First sentence. Okay, now see, the danger to humanity created by so-called peaceful uses of atomic energy may, however, be much greater. Okay, so when I look at this particular sentence, this sentence doesn't seem like an introductory sentence. Okay, because I'm basically comparing much greater. It means there has to be certain hint that where I am talking about these atomic energy and bombs, and I'm giving an idea that what basically these atomic energy are capable of. So this again, if we can eliminate this as a first sentence. D. The resultant ionization radiation has become the most serious agent of pollution of the environment and greatest threat to men's survival on Earth. Okay, so here I'm talking about resultant ionization. It means that this D sentence is result of an action. So here, just by first reading, I have two hints. First of all, I got my B sentence. That's gonna be my first one. Okay, so B becomes my first sentence because no other sentence qualifies as my first sentence, right? So here what I can do is, here I can choose my B sentence, and one more thing, I got one more hint that I'm talking about result. So obviously result will be there when certain action was there. True. Without action, there can be no result. Yeah. So if there is a result, so I need to I need to identify the action, that which action actually I'm talking about. Okay. So let's see. D is talking about the resultant ionizing radiation has become the most serious agent of pollution of the environment and greatest threat to the men's survival of Earth. Okay. Now, if I see that what actions can cause ionizing radiation. So if I see, this is basically talking about uh, not an action which can justify, which can result in ionizing radiation. So I can eliminate A. I'm left with B and C. So here I have a hint, large scale nuclear fission is undoubtedly the most dangerous and most profound. Now, this thing, the result of this action, which is given in B, is this, which is given in D. So I come up with a pair of D. Okay. Next hint is but. I know that but is given to me. So all I need to do is, अब मेरे पास में there is only, I'm left with only C and A. So the answer should be A, D, C, A or A, D, A, C. Okay. There are only two options. All I need to do is whether I should identify that which is the conclusion, or the better one is I should identify that what which sentence supposed to come before a sentence. Okay, because that one is easier because we need to have a contradict information. I have a sentence with me, and the nature I can see, which is already given here, which I need not to identify. So what I need to do is, what A is talking, I have to look for contradict information. That, so let's see A again. But the attention of the layman, not surprisingly, has been captured by the atom bombs, although there is at least a chance that it may never be used again. So it means we are talking about that the attention is on atom bomb. It means we have to come up with certain thing that there is something similar to atom bomb and no one is paying attention on them. Okay, So there are two types of things given, two types of energy. ठीक है, एटम बॉम्ब हमारा यहाँ पे हो गया है और इसका कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट आ रहा है, सो इट मीन्स मुझे एटम बॉम्ब के कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट में आई नीड माई इंफॉर्मेशन. ठीक है, वेयर आई कैन सी दैट apart from atom bomb there is anything else which is given. It is there. D, agents of pollution of the environment and greatest threat to the main survival on earth, that is ionizing radiation. Okay, on which no one is paying attention. Everyone is paying attention on atom bombs, but we need to pay attention on this. So contradict is justified. So A, I'm left with only C, so C becomes my conclusion. Doubt, question? Okay, I hope you guys understood this particular paragraph jumble, how you need to come up with the hints and how just simply picking few words can come up with the right answer. You cannot keep working on the entire sentences and you cannot work on every single combination which is possible out of these four statements. All you need to do is pick up the hints. First of all, identify the first sentence, later pick up the hints and keep connecting the dots. So first, identify the first sentence. Second, connect the hints and look for pairs, that those two sentences which have to come together. Okay, here the pair was this D and A, because here we are having but, so I needed a contradict information which is only there in D, so D and A becomes a pair. Okay, now next. Okay, next is while you might think that you see or are aware of all the changes that happen in your immediate environment, there is simply too much information for your brain to fully process everything. Okay. Psychologists use the term change blindness to describe this tendency of people to blind to change, though they are in the immediate environment. It cannot be aware of every single thing that happens in the world around you. Sometimes big shifts happen in front of your eyes and you are not at all aware of these changes. Okay. Now, let's first identify the first sentence. It is this tendency. So, which tendency we are talking about? True, so pronoun. So, we cannot take this as our first sentence. It can be aware of. Now, again, it can be aware of every single thing that happens in the world. So, who is aware of every single thing? Who cannot be aware of every single thing, right? So, this cannot be our first sentence, because first sentence should be like should have a nature in which just by reading first sentence you will understand that okay, what this passage is about to talk. Okay, that is the nature of first sentence. So whichever sentence you feels like that, okay, this particular sentence is giving me a little introduction about what the passage is talking, that is your first sentence. Okay, obviously there are hints, so I can easily eliminate B and C on the basis of their pronoun usage. D says sometimes big shifts happen in front of your eyes and you are not at all aware of these changes. Doesn't sound like a first sentence either. So I got A as my first sentence, which introduced me to the topic they are about to talk. Now, there is one thing, just by single reading, I got that it cannot be aware of every single thing that happens in the world around you. Now, this it is addressing to what? Obviously, brain, because first it's talking about that, while you might think that you see and are aware of all the changes that happen in your immediate environment, there's simply too much information for your brain to fully process everything. Okay, so we are talking about brain only in first sentence. In B and C can be the further explanation, but C is the continuation of C. That we feel that we are aware, but actually brain is this. These so many informations are too much for the brain to fully process. So it cannot be aware of everything. What? Brain cannot. So answer to this A becomes great. So I can easily put C after A. Okay, so now I'm left with B and D. Okay, this is D, so do not get confused with this. Let's make it D first. Okay, D. Okay, so A, B, C, D. A and C makes a pair. A is our first sentence. All I need to see is whether the next sequence supposed to be B or D or D or B. Okay, so A, B, I'm so sorry. Now let's compare B and D. Give it one more read. Psychologists use the term change blindness to describe this tendency of people to be blind to changes who they are in the immediate environment. Sometimes big shifts happen in front of your eyes and you are not at all aware of these changes. Okay, so first I need to identify, am I switching the topic? Okay, so there are two hints. First, either you come up with a conclusion, okay, that which one seems correct conclusion, which one seems that the sentence which is closing the paragraph very smoothly and you get one piece of information after giving that closure to the passage. Okay, or second hint is you see that B or D may say which one is continuation of the C. Okay, see, whenever we write about anything, what happens if I'm describing one thing? Suppose I'm describing a object. Entire description related to that a object should be in sequence. It should be not be like that. I'm describing a sentence, then I am I stop describing A, then I describe something about B, then again I'm describing about A. No, this is wrong formation. Whenever you are describing a object, make sure that वो a object का पूरा description दिया है. After that switch to B, then entire description to B, then after that switch to C. You cannot do this that you are describing 2 points about A, then you describe 1 point about B, then again you switch to A, then C. No, this is wrong. So when I see, we are actually talking about that what happens with our brain. So if you see the sequence, D1 is the correct one because D basically it is the extended explanation of what we are talking in A and C, that how our brain works. So it is description that we are not aware of every single thing that happens around us, and sometimes big shift happens in front of your eyes and you are not at all aware of these changes, because in C and B we are talking about the awareness of our brain. Okay, so that leaves B to be our conclusion, and moreover it fits more like a conclusion because what psychologist caused this particular scenario is given in B. Okay, now next. Yes, so this is again a question of para-jumble, but in this you have to identify one sentence which does not belong to the passage. Okay, so when I say it does not belong to the passage, it doesn't mean that that is something absolutely out of context. No, whenever the examination is offering you an out of context question, topic will be same, terminology will be same, everything will be same. Okay, but there can be multiple reasons that why that particular sentence falls out of context. First, that it is grammatically doesn't fit in the passage. Second, something I'm talking about, suppose the influence of politics on education. Okay, influence of politician on our education system. And then again, I'm talking about influence of politics on defense of our country. Okay, security of our country, national security. So here, despite I'm talking about politics only and their influence, but in 4 sentences I'm talking about on education, and in one I'm talking about on national security. So that will be out of context because that is not related. Now, third situation is, which can be little tricky, when you read the entire passage, every single sentence seems to be absolutely perfectly falling in the passage, but there might be some dependent sentences. Okay, dependent sentences means, let's take an example of but. Now, but brings contradiction. It's like positive, but works like a bridge, and negative. So if I have to switch from positive to negative or vice versa, I need a bridge to cross that. And that bridge is but. So if one information is given to you which is negative, one information is given to you which is positive, and there is but with the negative information. So here I cannot afford to eliminate any of these two sentences, because if I'll eliminate any one of them, the second will become useless. Okay, so that makes no point at all. So in that case, I'm left with no choice but to eliminate the third one, no matter वो कितना भी sense हो. Maybe it is contributing to a great level to the passage. Still, I have to eliminate that third sentence only, because दोनों में से अगर मैंने एक भी sentence eliminate किया, so second will become useless because but demands contradiction. Okay. So now let's see this one. Basically, if we are talking about this one, this is talking about economic. Okay, let's see. So you can observe the truth of this in every e-business model ever constructed, monopolies and protect data. Economists and technologists believe that a new kind of capitalism is being created, different from industrial capitalism, as was merchant capitalism. In 1962, Kenneth Arrow, the guru of mainstream economics, said that in a free market economy, the purpose of inventing things is to create intellectual property rights. There is, alongside the world of monopolies, information and surveillance, a different dynamic growing up. Information as a social good, incapable of being owned or exploited or prized. Yet, information is abundant. Information goods are freely replicable. Once a thing is made, it can be copied and pasted indefinitely. Okay, so if you see this particular passage, so what we are talking about basically economic, and basically now this open market which is available to us. So if you see that we don't need a second reading at all, because यहाँ पे I'm only talking about mainstream economics and that traditional economy, monopolies, and the new market which is open to us, which is e-business model. But here we are talking about in this particular sentence about new kind of capitalism is being created, which is nowhere given in there is no discussion, there is no topic related to this at all. Though the passage is related to economic and technology, but we are not talking about any new kind of capitalism is being created. Okay, so if I keep B, I'm basically introducing a new topic to my passage. So all other four sentences are talking in different way, but B has introduced a new topic to the passage, that is new kind of capitalism is being created. So here we can easily identify B as our out of context question. Okay, sorry, sentence. So I hope my point is clear to you, everyone. Okay. So okay, so I'm assuming that you guys enjoyed today's session and you guys actually understood a little about what exactly this passage was all about, and how to solve parajumble, how to connect dots, and every other single aspect of parajumble. So the key of solving parajumble is connecting the dots, identifying the pairs, looking for the looking for what hints are given to us, like but is there, and pronouns are there. One more hint is whenever you see also and to, like TOO2 and also TOO2 in addition, when we are providing any additional information, okay, not for extreme limits. So whenever you see such examples, whenever you see such words in a sentence, there is this is the biggest hint. Okay, what happens whenever we talk about also to as well as these kind of words, they always bring in the additional information with them. Okay, this shows that somewhere in the passage there is a similar nature information is given about the same thing. Suppose I'm talking about benefits of a product. Okay, so if I'm talking about benefits of a product, also shows that in some other sentence I'm again talking about benefits of product A. Now that particular sentence will come immediately before the sentence which is containing this additional word, that is also or to as well as and so on. Okay, so this is how you can actually solve your parajumble. Okay, if you guys have any question, any query, or any doubt related to parajumbles, you guys can ask. 2022 के लिए you can just keep watching our YouTube channel. We come up with a lot of we come up with a lot of new topics of verbal, of cons, LRDI, everything. So yeah, you can keep an eye over it, and we actually can covers maximum of topics. Okay, like today we covered parajumble. So these kinds of sessions you can also see in quants, in LR and DI, not just in verbal. In next session, we'll be covering some other topics related to CAT. So I won't call it a proper course, but yeah, definitely you will get a lot of information and you will gain a lot of, from examination point of view. So keep watching these sessions. Anyone else? Madhuvara, I hope I'm clear. Okay, so I'm assuming that no one is having any question or any doubt or any query. If you guys have any question, even D looks like out of context. Okay, so whenever you get confused, many a time it happens in examination, not just in paragraph jumble. See what happens whenever you are solving any question of verbal, it is reading comprehension or paragraph symbol. What happens that sometimes we get stuck between two options. Okay, suppose 5 options are given to us, we can easily eliminate 3, but we get stuck between 2 options. So many a times it happens that actually uh, those both the options are correct somehow. To a level both options are correct, but obviously we have to mark one. So what happens, you compare both those options and you come up with the most appropriate one. Not just in parasymbol, you'll see in mainly in RCs also these type of questions come. That's why we recommend to go for elimination method. Okay, elimination method is that if you are, no matter how many options you are available with, instead of finding the correct answer, you keep eliminating the wrong one. Okay, why? Because many a time it is given that every single answer seems correct to us. So keep eliminating the wrong one instead of identifying the correct one. Okay, that you compare to that. No, if I compare A and B, A seems more appropriate. So let's eliminate B. Okay, so keep eliminating options. By the time you reach, by the time you are left with only 2 options, instead of identifying the correct answer. Because if you'll see D, D will also look correct to you. If you'll see B or A, that will also look correct to you, whichever 2 options you are left with. So in that case, possibility is there that both are correct. Possibility is there. Many a time it happens that 2 correct answers are given. Now, if 2 correct answers are given and we have to mark only one, how to identify it? In that case, what we do, we compare both the options, A and B. Suppose we were left with A and B. So we compare both of them, and instead of eliminating the wrong one, because might be there is no wrong answer at all from these 2 options, you look for the most appropriate one. That which one is better choice. Okay, Simona, did you join late? Because we have already solved all the questions. Okay, so I'm not getting an answer for you from you. So yeah, so this is whenever you get confused, like you got confused between D and B, compare and see which one seems more appropriate and mark it. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so I'm assuming that you people have no question and no query. So I'm calling it a session. Is it okay? Okay, fine. So let's call it a day. It was nice. You guys showed interest, and I hope you guys have gained at least a little from this session, and that will obviously fill the purpose of conducting this entire live session. Okay. Chalo, everyone, bye bye. Take care and practice well.